Sachsenring, home of the German Motorcycle Grand Prix, but perhaps of more interest to those of us who prefer our motorsport without all that ostentatious leaning, it's a well-regarded venue for GT racing and track days as well. The GT Masters Series has been coming here for years with its grid of GT3 machinery, and before that it played host to a round of the FIA GT1 Championship. All of which means that this place is perfect for sim racers. Now, if you're a fan of Raceroom, then you probably already knew that, but thanks to the efforts of Gunnar, this is now coming to that mix and match mod playground that is Assetto Corsa. So it's new mod time. Now, it's been a little while since I've been able to preview a new circuit for Assetto Corsa, and this one is excellent. The headline here is that this is a data-driven recreation of what is perhaps a lesser-known circuit that provides great racing for the types of cars us sim racers tend to end up spending a lot of time with. So, what's not to like? Well, it turns out, not a lot really. Gunnar's Sachsenring mod has been in the works for a couple of years now. It features a mesh constructed from real-world open LiDAR data, which provides a nice, accurate, data-driven representation of the real track. And on top of that, Google photogrammetry has been employed to populate some of the surroundings, which is a diverse mixture of sort of industrial and rural, providing a pretty distinctive setting for the venue. But what is it that makes Sachsenring interesting? Well, this is one circuit that's rooted firmly in the old school design category, despite the permanent layout being a product of the early 90s. And that means that we have such lauded assets as grass runoffs, narrow tarmac, gravel, and some pretty impressive elevation changes for what is a pretty compact venue. And as far as I'm concerned, that already adds up to a compelling race venue. Diving a little bit deeper, Sector 1 is a technical exercise in the best sense of the word. The combination of slow and longer corners with significant camber and that all-important elevation change provides a driver with a great test of chassis setups, and, well, there's not a single 90-degree corner in sight. And that's quite notable as this layout of the circuit owes its design to one Hermann Tilke, but don't let that put you off. Through Sector 2 and 3, the circuit starts to open up, getting faster, hillier, and, well, better, honestly, as it goes on. There are plenty of fast but not quite flat out moments, at least in a GT car, which definitely keeps things interesting. In fact, in many ways it reminds me of Brands Hatch, which, as we all know, is a place as close to perfection as humankind dare construct. That's all very well and good out in the expansive dampness of the real world, but what about in the Assetto Corsa version? Well, first of all, this representation has all of the mod cons. There's custom shaders patch functionality for things like seasons, animated marshals, camera crew, working digital flags, animated helicopters, and trackside vehicles. Gunnar has also provided night lighting, despite driving after dark being somewhat forbidden on the real circuit thanks to one of those pesky noise curfew things. But as sim racers, we only have a loose grip on reality at the best of times, so we can ignore the petty bureaucrat with his decibel meter and drive around once the sun's done its disappearing act. Now, there is one other feature that I imagine will be disproportionately popular with reference to its utility. Once you're done admiring the locals, the racing that can be had here is plenty entertaining. The main layout is reasonably short by modern standards, with a lap time of around 80-something seconds in a GT3 car, which helps keep things pretty action-packed. The tight and twisty Sector 1 rewards a driver with plenty of patience as the slower and particularly longer corners tempt you into making a mistake and maybe even trying some alternative lines. But once you're free of that early technical stuff, the fast and flowing nature of the rest of the track rewards those that are unburdened by a fear of commitment, curbs, or escape velocity. The tarmac is narrow, very much in the same way that a Tilke track usually isn't, and that makes for great racing in tin tops as long as you don't mind a bit of robust shoulder-on-shoulder action. But single-seaters are maybe a little bit less suited for that very same reason. But hey, if you can avoid making contact, you do you. Back to the tin tops, and this is another one of those circuits where GT3 cars are probably about the fastest, sensible category that you can really race here. But again, that's just me. But GT3s do in fact make for great racing in Assetto Corsa at Sachsenring. As in real life, GT4s are a treat around here too, as is pretty much any type of cup or national level car that you care to mention. And then of course, there's track days. Sachsenring is a circuit that's pretty well known in the European track days scene, and the mod caters for this in a reasonably unique way. As the grandstands and other facilities are temporary at the circuit, they're only constructed for race days, so the track day version of the circuit features more sparse surroundings that actually completely change the vibe and feel of the place. Now, I will admit that you could argue that this is a small thing and maybe even a gimmick, and I guess after making that crack about the wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man perhaps lacking utility, I guess I'm somewhat exposing my hypocrisy. But here's the thing. I, for one, really appreciate details like this. They really serve to demonstrate the effort put in by the mod's creator to replicate the sort of sense of place and the feel it evokes when driving there, either, I guess, on a race weekend or a track day in this case, rather than just producing what is a technically accurate representation of the venue. And for me, that's what takes a mod from being good to great. When all is said and done, if I had to choose between a technically very accurate mod that lacked soul, for want of a better word, and the opposite, then I'm always going to go with the one with character. Thankfully, when it comes to Sachsenring, there is no need to compromise, as, in my opinion, this ticks both boxes. If you're interested in giving Sachsenring a go for yourself, and honestly, why wouldn't you, then I'm told it'll be available on Friday, and I'm going to update the top comment with a link as soon as I have one. As is always the case with free mods, please do consider tipping the creator and leaving a review if you really enjoy their work.